Okay, last but not least is 5.9. Since we're just reviewing all of five, I'm not going to do the unit review and the vocab review since we've just gone through them all. Um, I think I'll take a look if there's anything that's worth posting, but I'm not going to do a separate lecture for those. Um, so here's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be talking about what one does for a living and fingerspelling practice, receptive practice. Now, it's a really short thing that is just conversation that we do in the classroom where you're going to be describing what's your job. Now, this is, again, one of the big things that you're going to talk about in any interaction you have with deaf people is it's going to come up, what do you do? Are you a student? Do you work? Who do you live with? Are you dating anybody? All of those kind of things. So it's worth thinking this through and practicing and almost coming up with a script so that you have a default to answer. So your job, and there are three ways to talk about your job. I'm going to jump down a little bit and say the first thing is you can say what the job title is, what you do. Oftentimes that will help. If you don't know the vocab for it, look it up. Like if you're a mechanic or a security guard. I know I have a few students who work as security guards around campus or at other businesses. So what the job title is, the location or the business where you work, Dunkin' Donuts, Burger King, McDonald's. So either of those. Now, I would tend to say it's probably worthwhile saying the name of the location first, if it's a business that people would know, and then what your job title is, manager. Or be ready to describe what the tasks or duties are. Remember from chores, duties, jobs, responsibilities. Because if someone doesn't know what the job is or what the company does, immediately they're going to ask, well, what is it you do? Same as in English, right? So do that. If you don't know what if you don't know the specific vocab, look it up before you look it up now so you're prepared. But you can use similar signs. We've talked about if we don't know what a vocab word is, that how would we sign it? Well, sign something similar. It's kind of like this, but, or it's, you know that, well, it's different. I do this way. You can act it out. Like if you, metal, I stick it together. If you're a welder, say, drive a forklift. Right. So acting it out, you can describe it, draw the shape in the air using shapes and stuff like that. So anyway, miming it. Notice they don't put finger spelling because no one likes finger spelling and no one wants to learn all about your job based on finger spelling. AutoCAD. Blah. So look up the verbs or look up the vocab, verbs and nouns and adjectives for what your job is. Worth having it or what you want to be your job. And if you go onto YouTube, you can find lots of vocab lists for jobs. There's no new vocab specifically for this chapter, but there's a bunch. Well, okay, so now that we've done the in-class activity of talking about your job, which just means prep yourself, have it ready, so that if you meet someone, you can describe your job. We have, in the homeworks from the book, now we're looking at fingerspelling. And there's writing the word, and there's two sets where down at the bottom, you see all the options that you could, that they could be spelling. And it's a sentence. So here's what the first one. Okay. So what's key is, what did she fingerspell? There's plenty of context that should help you be able to eliminate the other choices. You shouldn't have to look at the list, though. Um, so, um, and they're fingerspelled slow enough, you should be fine. So watch it, write down or select what's the fingerspelled word. And then after each one, I did put the answer. So there are a bunch of them, I think 12, 13, 12. Then the next fingerspelling practice is a word list. Cindy is going to fingerspell a list of words. I'm not going to put the answers in here. They're in your textbook if you want to look them up. But I think it's good to watch and analyze it and figure out what the correct answers are. The point of this this video is not just to get the right answers. The point is to be able to go back and watch it like every few days. This is one that would be worth bookmarking on your browser and going back to during the course of ASL 2. Because the point of it is that you get used to the shape of the word that she fingerspells and that you recognize it almost before she's done fingerspelling. That you're not looking at the letters, you're looking at the shape, the overall shape of whatever word she fingerspells. There's 2 of these in here. So it goes from a bunch of different individual words that you pick from a vocab set, and then a word list to go and practice. And then there'll be one more. So there's a whole bunch of other, write the words, another set. And then the last one is, again, the second word list, where she'll fingerspell some more difficult words, and you want to watch them. Again, Unit 5 is just, here's what we've done so far. Let's put these things together. And now it's describing your job, but then how's your fingerspelling? Have you kept up with it? Fingerspelling is a big thing. It's easy to let it slide, but you really need to keep working on it on your own, both receptive and expressive. And online, there's plenty of opportunities for receptive practice. Watching videos, go to YouTube and just type in ASL fingerspelling. Be careful you don't get BSL or Auslan, Australian Sign Language, British Sign Language, or Australian Sign Language, because they use 2 hands. If you see someone fingerspelling and they're using both hands, it's not American. So just to be aware, there are some really awful ones. There's one I can think of where it's super fast fingerspelling or something like that. And these words have nothing to do with one another. I like if you can find a vocab list where either they give it to you in a sentence, or a fingerspelling list where they give it to you in a sentence, or there's a theme to the list. If it's just random words, you have no context clues, and that doesn't help. It doesn't help with studying either, because your brain can't make any connections. You're halfway through the word, and it's finally going, what is it? Oh, I think it's this word. So I think it induces more panic than it really helps. I'm going to do one thing on this one because I want it to match. Change the background. We are going to put a little light yellow color to it. Done. Okay, great. And again, with this one, there's no, the sheer amount of video is too huge for me to put it in here. So they're all on the slideshow itself. So that's 5.9. And again, 5.8 and 5.9 are these short little things with a bunch of videos to watch. So that's really everything from 1 to 5. So if you go back and especially if you watch this series of videos, it will help get a little bit more ready for when ASL 2 starts. Now, I don't know who has what teacher for ASL 2, and if they're meeting online, or if they're meeting in person, or if they're meeting online in class sessions, or online asynchronous like I've been doing. But again, I'll be in office hours, so feel free to contact me, and I can try to help out. We're also trying to get the lab to have more hours. So if you are on campus, or if you can call in, Zoom in to the lab, we can try to send something up. Cool.